Hey Seth, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, very good. Glad to get the chance to chat again. Ahead of SummerSlam, I was just remarking earlier last year, giving Dominic his debut this year, dream matches against Edge. A lot of people are calling you Mr. SummerSlam. Is this, kind of a straight race between yourself and Bret Hart in many eyes? Is that something you kind of take pride in? Look at your body of work at SummerSlam. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I have had a good run of SummerSlam matches, I will say. Obviously being compared to the Hitman there is high regard. So that's pretty incredible. But at this point in my career, SummerSlam is huge, man. It's especially this year. This one's huge. The match itself versus Edge is huge, but the event is huge. It's the first time we're going to be able to be inside of a full stadium and in a year and a half, and so it's really exciting to know that we've got that upcoming on Saturday, and the pressure's on. To me, SummerSlam was always number two on the calendar for WWE as a kid. I loved it. I loved the event as a child, and so being able to be a part of the lore and the history and the legacy of this event is pretty special. So yeah, man, I always I lace them up extra tight for SummerSlam.
Awesome, man. Can't wait.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. We're going to come next to Jack Hudson at the Inner Sanctum.
G'day, Seth. How you going, mate?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. I just wanted to ask you, what is it like working with a veteran like Edge? Obviously very decorated and yourself. So how excited are you, and what's it like working with him?
Well, it's nice. He's someone who, since he's come back from his neck surgery that he thought was career ending, he's obviously not taking anything for granted. And so he's extra sharp. He wants to put in extra effort to do everything the best he possibly can because, he's on borrowed time. And so he knows that. And he's also just a perfectionist. And in a lot of ways, you guys have noticed, as we've detailed on screen, our characters are very similar. But in real life, I find that we are also two similar types of personalities. And sometimes that can work with you. Sometimes it can work against you. In this situation, if you have watched the last month of television, I feel like you would think that it works for us. And so it's one of those situations where iron sharpens iron. I want to work with the best so I can be my best, and I think it's vice versa. I think he feels the same way.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you.
We'll come next to Sunny at India.com. Sunny, let's just hit unmute.
Yeah, actually, I'll be back in a minute. My system just hanged out. I'll raise hand again. I'm so sorry, sis. I'm so sorry.
Okay, let's go to the next one. We're going to come next to Alistair McGeorge at Metro.
Yeah, hi Seth, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man. How are you?
Good, yeah, brilliant, thank you. I wanted to touch you going into SummerSlam at a time where the character has evolved kind of so naturally over the last couple of years, and for me has this kind of real sort of comic book vibe to it. Do you draw much on things like that, sort of comics and films? And also, like, how much has it helped working with people like Bray Wyatt and Triple H over the years when it comes to the way character has developed?
Well, I mean, yeah, the character's in a weird place right now. I definitely take inspiration anywhere I can get it. So when you look at the arc of my career, you'll be able to kind of see the whole picture, I suppose. You mentioned that it's really naturally evolved over the last couple of years, and I would say even longer than that, to be fair. Triple H is definitely someone that my character draws inspiration from. Obviously, he played a major role in kind of the beginnings of my character. and sort of what it's become. But if you look at his career, his character always kind of did the same thing. It evolved very naturally over the years. Was able to kind of teeter back and forth to both ends of the spectrum. Ironically, Bray Wyatt, God, I miss him. But I wouldn't say that I drew much inspiration from him. He was way out there with the stuff that he wanted to do character wise, and it worked for him. For me, not so much. That's not really where I sit when it comes to characters in wrestling, but it worked well for him. So yeah, it's a fun thing. It's cool. It's been definitely interesting. Comic book, I wouldn't. I'm a bit over the top, but I don't know that I had considered myself a comic book character, but that's pretty cool.
Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you.
Let's come next to Vineet at News 18 in India.
Hi, Seth. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All good, all good. Thank you. So my questions regarding John Cena, his return. You have had run-ins with him in the past, but just as a wrestling fan, perspective on how big his return is, so to speak, how big has it made SummerSlam? The ratings has spiked. So as a wrestling fan, what's your take on that? There's always talk about big superstar and they're not wrestling or not on TV. The fan following might go off, but that's not the case clearly. So what's your take on that?
John is a special cat. John is devoted so much of his life to WWE. Carried the company literally on his back for over a decade when there was nobody else who could handle it. Definitely. And I learned so much from John in the ring and outside of the ring. I think that him coming back at this event is perfect. Whether this is his swan song, who knows? Obviously, John has a career in Hollywood. He's doing big things with his movie career and stuff like that. And so, we are not going to have him in moments like this very often. And so to be able to utilize his star power to put more eyes on WWE, I'm all for it. And John's not just showing up to do SummerSlam. He's been at SmackDowns. He's been at Raws when he doesn't have to be. John has been on the live events with us the last month. He doesn't have to do that either. He's, that's a schedule John doesn't need to keep. He could be doing anything else with his time. And the fact that he's devoting it to WWE, putting in the work, and showing up and doing his thing and being awesome. I love it. I'm happy for John. I'm happy he's here, and I'm looking forward to John Cena versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship in the main event on Saturday night.
Let's come next to Luis Rodriguez at El Universal.
Hi, Seth. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, man?
Really good. Thank you very much. Seth, your match against Edge, how much do you think it can push you to have an opportunity for the Universal title?
That's the goal. I felt like I should have had the Universal Championship opportunity at Money in the Bank. I felt like I was ready. I felt like I had put myself in a position to be considered for that. And Edge kind of came in and swept the rug out from underneath me a little bit. And so if you look at the SmackDown roster, I think once I move past Edge, there's not a whole lot left between me and Roman Reigns, or me and John Cena, depending on who walks out of that match on Saturday as the champ. So, I definitely feel like I am one way or another going to be Universal Champion very soon. And I think, beating Edge at SummerSlam, that would be sweet. It would be a feather in my cap for sure to kind of put him in his place and move on to the Universal title. So, time will tell, obviously, with Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce making decisions willy-nilly. You never know what they're going to do, but I got to give myself the best chance to be in that conversation.
Let's come next to Chuma in South Africa.
Hi, Seth. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. What are you most looking forward to against Edge? Because I mean, I would assume that he's one of the people that you looked up to before you got into, professional wrestling. And just your comment on the importance of having fans back now that COVID-19 has subsided.
Well, yeah. I mean, subsided is a loose word. It seems like it might be making a comeback at the moment, but we're doing everything we can. I know there are masks mandated at the arena, I believe, for the pay-per-view on Saturday. Everybody be safe out there. Just want to throw that at you. Be safe, please, 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 please. And as far as what I'm looking forward to most, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier when I said iron sharpens iron, and that's definitely the case. The cool thing about what we're getting from Edge right now is we're getting the best version of him. We're getting everything that he's done over the last 20, 25 years wrapped up into this current version of him. And like I said, he's not taking anything lightly. He's not taking any chances. He knows that he's living on borrowed time, that he's working on borrowed time. And so he puts every single thing he has into his matches. And so I'm looking forward to that push. Now he's never been in the ring with anybody quite like me. So I hope he's ready for a push himself. But at the end of the day, I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is just the roar of that packed stadium. I think that's really going to be something special. WrestleMania was cool. We were able to have half capacity crowd there for that. But this thing's going to be full. It's going to be packed. It's going to be hot in the desert. So very much looking forward to that. I think, that relationship with our audience is always number one. So it's hard to beat that.
All right, thank you and good luck, Seth.
Thank you.
We'll come next to Nicholas at Mundo Deportivo.
Hi, Seth. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Fine, thank you. For a lot of fans, Seth Rollins versus Edge is a big dream match that has been speculated for years. Do you think that's a kind of pressure in starting such that match at SummerSlam?
I definitely feel like this is a dream match, mainly for a lot of fans. I'd be ignorant to say that Edge didn't have a huge influence on my career growing up. Obviously, someone that I watched as I was younger and took influence from. But I think also a dream match for Edge because, like I said many times, he's the one who got to come back from a career-ending injury and get a second lease on life. And I'm one of the best in the game right now, possibly of all time. And so for Edge to be able to come back and get an opportunity to get in the ring with someone like me, that's got to be pretty special for him as well. And SummerSlam is a perfect place for it, man. It really is. I think this event and this crowd and this atmosphere where we're at right now, it's really perfect timing. So I'm looking forward to giving it all I got on Saturday and letting the chips fall where they may.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll come next to Matty Paddock.
Hi, Seth.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Thanks for your time. You mentioned Roman Reigns just before, and I wanted to take that point a little bit further with you, mainly because you're probably more than anyone on the roster very uniquely placed to talk about the phenomenal last 12 months he's had, probably from the perspective of now seeing him connect so well with the audience as well. He perhaps was a little bit maybe understood maybe in previous years with regards to the WWE universe, but as someone that knows him well, and as you rightly say, it's perhaps inevitable that confrontation between you is coming. What do you think about his performance level and how he's managed that as a colleague and someone who's quite close to him?
Yeah, man, he as someone I've basically seen his entire career from day one. He was in WWE a few months ahead of me. But I've watched him grow, obviously, as a performer over time. And, one thing I think people don't understand is, it takes time to be really good at this business and to figure yourself out and find your comfort level. And even though he was put in a position to succeed, early on, that's a lot of pressure for a young man. He's in the middle of an incredible run as far as WrestleMania main events, and being kind of put in the Hulk Hogan, John Cena top spot. And that is not easy. That is a difficult thing to do. And one thing that's been nice for him, as you've seen, you mentioned over the past year from really SummerSlam to SummerSlam, is he's evolved so much as a character, into a place where he feels comfortable, and you can really sense that his personality is starting to shine through, or shades of it anyway. And so, that's really what I think connects you to an audience, is that authenticity. And for years, he was just kind of struggling to figure out who he was on screen, and now he knows. And it's been cool to see his growth, from someone who was a mentor to him younger and in his younger years, to watch him grow now. I feel real good about that. And so it's just cool to see where he's at right now, and truly to see where he could go in the future.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
We'll come next to Razine Gutta in South Africa.
Hi, Seth. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm great. So you've spoken at length about your match in SummerSlam, and I think we're all so excited. But something else a lot of fans will certainly want to know, and definitely something I'm keen to know, is how Becky and Little Rue are doing. You're the closest person to personally that we've got access to at the moment. So maybe you can give us some news on her potential return to the WWE.
Oh gosh, I wish I knew, man. She'll be it is her goal. I will tell you this, it is her goal to return at some point. When that's going to be, we don't know. She's a timing person. Timing's got to be right for her. So I'm sure you guys will get some trolling posts this weekend as we approach the big event. She's been keen to do that over the last few months, just to mess with you guys. But yeah, they're great, dude. They're awesome. They're healthy. They're the loves of my life. I love the fact that I get to spend every single day with them, for the most part, that I'm not on the road. But yeah, man, it's being a dad and a husband's way cooler than I ever thought it could be. So they're great, and I appreciate you asking.
Let's come next to Philip Platzer at Hoyt in Austria.
Hello, Seth. Greetings from Vienna, Austria. How are you doing?
Oh, good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. My question is, how much of a factor will the jam-packed stadium be in your match?
Oh, it's gonna push my adrenaline through the roof, dude. I can't wait. Those big moments like that's what I live for. That's why we get into this business, to have those. And so this one's gonna be wild. It's just gonna be a real special. It's almost like a second WrestleMania this year. It's a different level of excitement, I think, and you can feel it in the locker room, man. All the guys and girls they're pretty amped for it. So it's going to be extra special, obviously, being the first time we filled the stadium in a year and a half. And I think that everyone's going to be on their A game, ready to have a killer match and killer performance.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Let's come to Saul at Diario Record. Saul, just click on mute.
Hi, Seth. Good
Hello,
morning.
hello.
Hello.
How are you,
Seth?
Saul? Yep, I'm here, buddy.
Oh, okay. I'm fine. Thank you. Returning to the nickname of Mr. SummerSlam, you are 6-1 at SummerSlam, but Edge has exact the same record. Would you agree with the winner being proclaimed for the WWE as Mr. SummerSlam? Because it's something to be won in the ring.
Yeah, look, you are correct. It is all about what you do in the ring, but I really think that my SummerSlam track record speaks for itself. Not only my win-loss record, but the quality of my matches and the opponents, the people that I have beaten at SummerSlam. That list is pretty special if you put them up all time. So I'm not going to call myself Mr. SummerSlam, maybe occasionally, but if you want to call me Mr. SummerSlam, you go right ahead. I certainly have earned it.
Thank you. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Let's come to Riju over in India next.
Hey, Seth. How's it going,
What
man?
up, man?
Oh, fantastic. So you mentioned John Cena some time ago. Everyone was talking about your promo, but they were not talking about his promo, in which you were referenced. And he said that Roman Reigns ruined Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose was also referenced. What was your reaction to that promo?
I had a good chuckle about it. You know, John likes to cross some lines occasionally. You know, you look at his history of promos in the ring, and especially his face-to-face promos going into big matches. He likes to cross the line. I think you know, the one thing I took exception to is the fact that Roman Reigns was in any way responsible for me and my career. And that's just not the case. Roman Reigns doesn't dictate what I do in the ring. He never has. He never will be. The boss of me, Roman Reigns, doesn't dictate my failures or my successes. Roman Reigns can't make me, just like Roman Reigns can't ruin me. And so I think that's the only part of it that I kind of, you know, not my favorite thing. And I don't like John painting me that way. But you know, he's got to do his thing. He wants to use my mouth to fill his narrative, and that's fine. He can do that. That's his prerogative. I would do the same thing if I were in his position with his name. So that's the nature of the business. That's how we sell tickets, and that's how we get people like you talking. So I appreciate the question, but I'm the only one who has Seth Rollins' fate in his hands, so to speak.
Kenny McIntosh, let's come to you next.
Hey, Seth, good to talk to you.
Hi, how are you, man?
I'm good. Listen, I want to jump straight in with you've talked a lot about your SummerSlam record. And for me, the match with Cena in 2015 is up there. The debut of the white gear, Jon Stewart interfering from The Daily Show, you becoming double champ. I mean, can you kind of take us back and talk about your memories of that? Because that win over Cena was a big win for you at that point in your career. How do you look back on that particular SummerSlam?
That SummerSlam was really surreal for me. I don't know that I thought the crowd was going to be as invested in me at that point as they were. I think the gear obviously was very striking, and added to kind of the excitement level when I walked out that way. No one had really seen me in anything but black up until that point. And so it really kind of, you know, popped pretty well. And the match itself, you know, the athleticism and the physicality sort of speaks for itself. And then the added element of Jon Stewart, it all felt very surreal and as if it happened in a dream or as if I was watching it happen to somebody else. Even the idea of being a double champion, I almost didn't think was possible. It wasn't anything that I even considered. You got to remember, I was just a few months removed from winning my first WWE championship in, you know, pretty epic fashion at WrestleMania. So, I mean, I was still riding that wave. So busy, so much going on in my life. I didn't really have the time to kind of sit back and enjoy what was happening. Now, in retrospect, obviously, I can look back at it, but what a whirlwind that was, man.
Let's come next to James at the South African.
Hi, Seth. You are probably the WWE's most stylish man in and out of the ring. And as you mentioned before, you've had some striking ring gear at SummerSlam. Are there any plans for anything special at SummerSlam? Can you give us any sort of hints if you're not willing to ruin the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't think I ever in my life thought I'd be called WWE's most stylish man, but thank you for that. I put in the time. Second of all, yeah, I've always got something up my sleeve, you know. I don't think you want me to ruin the surprise, though. We'll see. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going just in a kind of a different direction, so we'll see where it ends up. But I definitely got something that's stewing in my head, and we're a few days out, so we'll see what it turns into.
Let's come to Miguel Leiva in Spain.
Hey Seth, I'm not asking you how are you because I know you are doing great today. So thank you for your time. I've got a general question about your career, and if you had the opportunity to give an advice to the Seth Rollins, that Seth Rollins from 2014, 2015, an advice, which advice would you give to that version of Seth Rollins?
I probably would have told myself to slow down a little bit. And not in the sense that I need to take more days off or anything like that, but man, and I mentioned it in one of the previous questions here now, where it was very surreal for me at 2015 SummerSlam. I mean, that was the first few years of my career. I didn't really get a chance to fully enjoy what was going on around me. I was so focused, hyper focused on ascending the ladder and getting myself in a position where I could, be at the top of the food chain in WWE. And, that can be very stressful sometimes. And so, I just didn't take the time to enjoy the little things as they were happening to me, and maybe even the big things. I didn't take enough time to enjoy the moments. And so consequently, my memories of those things, like I said, talking about SummerSlam 2015, they're very surreal. They feel almost like they only exist in video form, as if I don't have actual memories of those moments, only the images that were taken of them. So, I think I would just tell myself to try to stop and smell the roses a little bit more when I was younger.
We're going to take our final question, and that's going to come from Louis Dangor at Give Me Sport. Louis, we're going to have to do a little unmute, if that's okay. Nope.
Can you hear me
There we
now?
go. We
There
can.
he is.
Perfect. Sorry about that. It wouldn't let me unmute. Thank you for taking the time, Seth. I think that was a really cool video that went around Twitter. I think it was earlier this year, of you talking about sort of what seemed like the early beginnings of the Messiah character. I think it was actually backstage at that SummerSlam 2015, you talking about sort of your ideas for coming out as sort of a Messiah or a sort of a holy-like character with the white gear. Can you kind of speak to us about when this character started, if there were sort of plans of it, maybe just loosely in your head back then, sort of dating back to 6 years ago now, and how you've enjoyed this run compared to, I guess, some of the other iterations of your character?
I've always felt a little more comfortable in this role, even dating back to, gosh, my early years in pro wrestling, before I was even trained, really. I just always had a knack for playing characters that were full of themselves. And so that was just where I went with my personality when I was younger. And I guess maybe modeled after, Ric Flair's of the world, and kind of a lot of the bad guys that I saw, the heels that I saw when I was growing up, Mr. Perfect, these types of characters that I really detested when I was younger. I think they became the thing that I was like, oh, well, what do we hate the most? And it was these types of people. So, when it was time to get into performing and I had to be as detestable as possible, these examples came to mind. So I don't know that it was ever anything that I thought I'd take to the level that it's at now. But there's something really, really disgusting about kind of using, whether it's religion or sort of a religious vibe to get what you want, or using it as a crutch. And I think that adds just a weird extra element, kind of a creepy extra element of scumbaggery, if you will, to the character, and puts it in a place where there's really nothing redeemable about that. And so I don't know, man. It's always been something that I've been drawn to as a character trait. And so I'm having a lot of fun really trying to exploit that to, the best of my ability. And I think that it's turned out quite well in some ways.